Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of Sports Talk with Hawk. Here we go. We are down to the final two snapshots in the snapshot series. Today we have the Baltimore Ravens, a team that has been consistently in the upper echelon basically for my whole life. Very few down years, very few years where they're not competitive in some way or another. Really well run organization, but something just hasn't clicked. What is it? Well, let's see if we can figure that out. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back in. The Baltimore Ravens are a staple in the NFL. They have produced so many legendary superstars over the last 30 years. But they don't have all the Super Bowl rings you would expect them to. Why? Honestly, I don't know. They've had really good coaches. Brian Billick, really good coached. I told you guys that I had been watching old Raven, I was watching old Colts games, and one of the ones that I watched was the Colts versus Ravens. That game was really interesting. Back in 2005, Brian Billick was the head coach, and Kyle Bowler was the quarterback, with big old Jamal Lewis as the running back. Derek Mason, the wide receiver on the outside. Todd Heap, the tight end. Jonathan Ogden, Hall of Fame tackle. Ed Reed, Hall of Fame safety. Gary Baxter, corner. Chris McAllister was injured at that time. Ray Lewis, Hall of Fame linebacker. Terrell Suggs. Haloti Ngata. The teams have had players. The teams have been able to consistently win. So what is it? You know what? Who cares? I know. That's what I said. Who cares? Jim Irsay today posted for the Colts fans 14 losing seasons in 42 years. I was trying to figure out how it wasn't more. And then I remembered, oh yeah, because losing seasons is only below 500, and with Manning, we only had two of those, the 3-13 year, and then the year that Jim Mora got fired that we went 6-10. Everything else was 9-7, the two bookend years around that firing year. And then all the ones after that were 12 wins or more. Here's something about the Ravens. It's 30 years. Remember when they were the expansion team? 30 years. They chose who they were going to be. That makes a difference. It makes a difference in who you hire, how you hire, and the makeup of your team. There are very few organizations in the NFL that are respected more than the Baltimore Ravens. They are willing to pivot off of things. The Steelers can't seem to do that. They're willing to take a risk. Many teams are so safe, they end up being safe into a false sense of being able to win. The Baltimore Ravens are willing to take risks. They're willing to fail. And they're willing to just keep working hard. It shows in how they've handled the transition from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson. They won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. Then they won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. Can they win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson? They got the same amount of competition, you could say. There's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers. They got a bunch of competition when it comes to quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Problem is, now you're throwing in C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, Bo Nix. Drake May is going to be a force to be reckoned with in New England. If you don't believe that, something's wrong with you. Mike Vrabel's track record shows it. Josh McDaniels' track record shows it. Two things say the same thing. It's not a coincidence. The Patriots are a well-run organization, regardless of my feelings about their former head coach. The Patriots are a well-run organization. The Ravens are too. They may not be as aggressive in free agency as you would like, but they did go get Derrick Henry last year. This team is a legitimate NFL pillar for the entire league. The Ravens consistently just being good is good for the NFL. I am going a little bit off kilter with what I normally do with snapshots. I know. Last night, Charles Barkley went off on ESPN, which is the company that, as he said last night, unfortunately, they're joining next year. Because Kendrick Perkins was an absolute buffoon, and he said the Los Angeles Lakers are saving the NBA. Saving the NBA? Because nobody would care if the Oklahoma City Thunder and Cleveland Cavaliers did anything. Okay, I don't follow basketball very much until the playoffs. And I know they're having amazing years. They are a true testament to building your team through the draft and sticking to your guns. I love that. They didn't go buy players. And they're winning. And they're the number one seed in both their individual conferences. In the NFL, you don't have to be the ones winning the championship to be helping the NFL. The Ravens being good is good for the NFL because they're going to play a lot of high-profile games. They're on prime time. They've got one of the most intriguing players. That was the problem with the Vic Falcons. They were good enough, but they weren't ever really a contender. Odds were never going to be in the Falcons' favor. The Ravens are consistently betting favorites to win a Super Bowl. Consistently in the top three. That's good for the NFL. You need your pillar franchises. Guys that it doesn't matter if they're winning the championship. They're just good. They can go 10-7. Nobody will say anything. They're good. They'll bounce back next year. They'll get the benefit of the doubt of bouncing back next year. It won't be a, oh my gosh, is this a decline? It matters. The Philadelphia Eagles, who we cover tomorrow, that'll be the last one. Philadelphia Eagles are the same way. It's good when Philadelphia is good. Two things can be true. They don't save the NFL, but they're good for it at the same time. The problem is everybody wants only one thing to be true. And that's the issue. So the Ravens are absolutely a very well-run organization. They will consistently be able to break through and make it to the Super Bowl if the ball bounces correctly or if it's caught on the goal line. But this is football. It's hard. Ask the Buffalo Bills. Ask the Indianapolis Colts. Ask the Detroit Lions. It's hard. They're a well-run organization. You can be proud of that. So what do they need to do, though, this year, this offseason, to make it even more feasible to get to that Super Bowl? Because I'll be honest, these stats are, they're wild. It's a backwards Ravens statistic bar. So total offense, number 1 in the league, 425 yards a game. Outstanding. 7th best passing, 237 yards a game. Best rushing offense at 188 yards a game. They average 31 points per game. Beautiful. Beautiful. 10th best defense at 324 yards a game. And you're probably like, well, that's good. Why are you laughing? They were the 31st pass defense. They averaged allowing 244 yards a game through the air. Their back-end defense was a sieve. There is no Ed Reed. There's no Chris McAllister. There's no Gary Baxter. There's no Corey Ivy. That back end, my gosh, is bad. Really bad. But they were the number 1 rushing defense. Brandon Mabuke, outstanding run stuffer. Kind of like Haloti Ngata. Kind of like a lot of the other nose tackles the Ravens have had. 80 yards a game on the ground. So they stayed in all these games because they were good enough to. Because their offense was so potent. They only allowed 21 points per game. The turnover differential wasn't as big as a Ravens team you would expect. They were +6 in the turnover differential, but that's only because Lamar Jackson doesn't turn the ball over. They had 12 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries, 1 takeaway per game. Decent, but not really what we expect from the Ravens. But they only gave away 4 interceptions and 7 fumbles. So they get a +6 turnover differential. Now, looking at the thumbnail, there are a couple concerning things. You need to continue to improve the team. The Buffalo Bills are in this spot as well. The Buffalo Bills today re-signed Terrell Bernard, which I thought was massive for them. He is a vital part to the success this year. The Ravens have $17 million in cap space. They've only got 20 free agents, which is good. They have a full bevy of picks, all 7 in the draft, and they picked 27th in the draft. So let's go look at who the free agents are. I'm sure you are fully aware of the first one, Ronnie Stanley. I would not re-sign him. I'd let him go elsewhere. Patrick McCarry, also offensive tackle. You may want him back. Tre'Davious White, probably going to let go. Patrick Ricard, the running back, you better re-sign him. He's been there for a while. Don't let him go. Fullbacks, to me, keep them. Keep them. I flat out remember Lorenzo Neal, Sam Gash, LaRon McClain. Like, fullbacks, let's not be trading them away. Kyle Juszczyk is invaluable in San Francisco. Patrick Ricard, hopefully he gets another deal. Keep him in Baltimore. He's still got another 4 years left in him. Aguilar's a free agent. Malik Harrison is a free agent. Josh Jones, the offensive tackle, is a free agent. And really everybody else is actually just kind of a role player. So you don't have a lot of holes to fill. You can fill majority of them through the draft. The question is, how do you improve this team? Because it wasn't good enough this year. It wasn't good enough this year. I have a. The Eagles, to me, are going to make some moves, and we'll go through them tomorrow. I'm trying not to put out teasers and stuff like that. I was talking to one of my buddies last night. I was talking about the start out with the YouTube channel because I used to do gaming and stuff. And one of my things is when I'm doing videos, podcasts, I know it's a strategic move in the media industry, but I hate clickbait. I want to be honest in what I do. So when I say we're going to do a snapshot series of each team, I'm going to do a snapshot series of each team. And that's going to be the title. You guys, if you've listened, know the trade that I proposed for the Titans. I could have used that as clickbait. I could have come up with something fancy that made it sound like I was doing something really wild. You can do that. I don't want to. The thing about the Eagles, this isn't necessarily a teaser, but the thing about the Eagles is they are so smart. They already re-signed Zach Bond, which to me means there are two players for sure that are not going to be back. Not that are necessarily free agents, but there are two players that will not be with the team next year. And that's what makes the difference. The Ravens have to improve. The Eagles just kind of need to cut some of the extra fat off of it. They, making the run for back-to-back. The Ravens have to improve. You can't be the 31st best pass defense in the NFL and expect to make the Super Bowl. You can't. It's just not possible. Not in this league. So at the end of the day, what are the Ravens going to do to improve? There are no out-of-the-box ideas with the Ravens. They're too well run. They don't need divas. They don't need a drastic change. They need pieces. I think one of those pieces could be Bobby Okereke, the linebacker that for some dumb reason the Giants don't seem intent on re-signing. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But I think pairing him next to Roquan Smith would be very beneficial in their nickel defense. I think it'd be really good for them. It would shore up the front seven pass-wise. Then you got to go after corners. You got to make a move. You're going to have to cut a little cap. They've got roughly $30 million in cap space with the bump from, the new cap year. Okay. But now you got to go get the players that matter. You do. You got to go get the players that matter. They need another receiver. I like Zay Flowers. Rashad Bateman is not gonna. Aguilar is not gonna. You need a receiver. Right now, I'd actually really be thrilled if they just went and got a Derek Mason to go alongside Zay Flowers. Just get a guy that can catch the dang ball consistently. Get a guy that can run the routes. Kupp is too expensive, or else I would say Kupp with the Ravens would really make sense. I absolutely would say that. Keenan Allen to the Ravens, signing with the Ravens, makes a lot of sense. Just a guy that can catch the ball. Zay Flowers is your speed guy. We know this. You just need the veteran that can run a hook route and catch the ball. Like on offense, that's what they're missing. They got two good tight ends, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. They got Derrick Henry. They got Lamar Jackson. They just need somebody that can catch the ball consistently because their tight ends are consistently some of the best receivers on the team. So my thought on offense is really simple. Go get Keenan Allen. Get Keenan Allen. Maybe you make a trade for Adam Thielen. I don't know. Get a guy that just can catch the ball. And then on defense, I would go get Okereke because I think he helps that middle level with zone. He is really twitchy. He's really fast. He had a great year for the Giants. I am still upset the Colts let him go. I absolutely would go get Okereke. And then you work on your secondary. I think you can get him through the draft. Listen, they've done it before. I know they've missed on a couple. They've done it before. They can do it again. If you want to bring back Tre'Davious White on another 1-year deal, $5 million incentive-laden deal, do it. Bring him in as the role player. Kyle Hamilton's really good. Kyle Hamilton is really good. You've got one safety. You need corners, though. You need corners. I don't think this team will not win more than 10 games while Lamar Jackson is quarterback. I don't think this team is that far off, just like the Bills. Buffalo plays these teams. The top 3 battles in the league right now, or not the league, sorry, the AFC, between the Chiefs and Ravens and the Bills and Ravens and the Bills and Chiefs, and those are amazing matchups right now. Those are amazing matchups right now. Every game is hard fought. Every game makes you want to watch. They're one of the best 3 teams in the AFC. Honestly, they're a top 5 team in the NFL. I put them in front of the Rams. Defensively, I think the Rams are going to really rock it this year. You guys know that if you've been listening. I love the Rams' defensive line. It reminds me of the Philadelphia Eagle defensive line. They're only going to get stronger, and they're together. If they can get corners, they're together. They're the only team that gave the Eagles fits, and it's because they can beat the Eagles the way the Eagles beat people. The Ravens can pound you into submission, but they need a second level. They need a secondary to stop the pass. Let's see what they do. I have faith because they've done it before. I think they win the AFC North again next year, and it's a fight for the number 1 spot in the AFC between the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs. Same thing as it has been. I don't see anything changing. I love this team. I love football. And I love the fact that I have one more snapshot and will have successfully completed a 32-team snapshot series. I'm excited. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It is a fabulous Friday. Hopefully it has already gone well by the time you are listening to this. Hopefully your weekend goes well. Obviously, I'll wish you another happy weekend tomorrow with the snapshot for the Eagles. But until then, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for stopping by. Please subscribe, like the podcast. Don't be afraid to comment, and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Friday night. Make it the best Friday night that you can, heading into, hopefully, what can be the best weekend that you can. Until tomorrow, with the final snapshot. For Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great night, everyone.